I'd like to call forward Dr. Margie Martin, Executive Dean of the Chicago School, to introduce our honorary degree recipient.
Thank you so much, Dr. Crawford. I now have the honor of introducing Mr. Eli Williamson, our honorary degree recipient. Mr. Williamson is the co-founder of Leave No Veteran Behind, an Illinois-based nonprofit focused on employment opportunities for veterans. And while serving as executive director of Leave No Veteran Behind, Mr. Williamson implemented debt relief and transitional employment programs, workforce skills training, and community service opportunities for veterans making the transition from military to civil life. Previously, as the Director of Veterans Programs for the Robert R. McCormick Foundation, he led the Foundation's place-based grant-making and efforts to improve veteran outcomes in the areas of employment, behavioral health, and navigation of services. He currently consults with individuals and cross-sector institutions on leveraging existing behaviors for philanthropic good. Prior to 2009, Mr. Williamson served in both Iraq and Afghanistan as a non-commissioned officer in the U.S. Army, a member of psychological operations, and as an Arabic linguist. Before leaving the Army, he served as a retention officer, providing career counseling and transition support to soldiers leaving the military. Mr. Williamson received a Bachelor of Arts in Communication and Linguistics with a minor in African Studies from Luther College in Iowa and is currently completing a master's degree in nonprofit management at DePaul University. He serves on the Board of Advisors for the Truman National Security Project, the Board of Directors for the Global Strategist Association, and the Board of Directors for the South Shore Chamber of Commerce in Chicago. Please welcome Mr. Eli Williamson to the podium. We're going to hood you. And let me call Dr. Scholes. Could you come to the podium as well?
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, the Chicago School, I hereby confer upon Eli Williamson the degree of Doctors of Humanities, honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto pertaining.
That's a lot to do.
When asked about what I miss the most about the military, it would be easy for me to say that I miss the camaraderie or the mission, but in reality, the one thing that I miss most is the dark humor. All the other things were important, but during the most difficult moments of my career, it was so important to find humor when faced with the dysfunction of war and conflict. The teams in which I found laughter were the tightest, and on those teams, the mission always took precedence. But my darkest days were always lightened by the most appropriate ironies articulated at the most inappropriate times. It was during these moments of suffering that I realized that the power of words was only supplanted by the power to laugh at the conditions in which those words were made manifest. It is in the moment of dark levity in which I realize that words truly do matter. Whether we were given an order that may cost our lives, or given an order that may cost the lives of those who are under our care, the difference in my ability to overcome an obstacle many times hinged on the ability to find the hidden irony of the situation that provided a sense that, you know what, if it gets any worse, I guess I just got to laugh at it. It is through the joy of laughter that it has become clear to me that certain words in our society are weighted heavier than others. As behavioral health professionals who sit before us, much of your studies up until this point have focused on words and concepts that describe the interaction of the mind and behaviors of those who seek your expertise. The words you use can provide clarity to those who are under the fog of distress, or potentially muddy the waters for those who thought they had it all figured out. Yet there is one 5-letter word that will impact everything that you do as you go about your roles as therapists, counselors, and community wellness leaders. That word is crazy. Most dictionaries start with the most offensive definitions of the word crazy. Webster starts with not mentally sound, marked by thought or action that lacks reason, insane, impractical, erratic, being out of the ordinary, unusual, afflicted with characteristics of mental derangement, foolish, not workable, not given to practical matters. But oddly enough, the second half of those definitions finish with positive definitions of the word: distracted, or with desire or excitement, absurdly fond, infatuated, bizarre or fantastic, being out of the ordinary or unexpected, slightly odd or even a bit weird, having or showing great interest. So now that I have my honorary doctorate from the Chicago School, it is my professional opinion that if the word crazy was a person, it should be clinically diagnosed as bipolar. If it is a word filled with the highs and lows, a word that one can find both repulsive and admirable, a word where mania and hypomania collide, a word that has been used to dismiss the most beautiful minds and validate the most corrupt personalities. It is a word that every armchair psychologist like myself throws around when we face senseless violence, man-made tragedies that we see on our news every evening. It is a word that your profession has spent years fighting the stigmas that it represents. But I'm here to tell you today, it is with this word in which your work must be done. Over 400 of you are sitting here today, patiently waiting for me to stop talking so that you can finally be conferred with the responsibility to go out and support the healing of those who are most impacted by a society that has not yet fully learned to prioritize wellness over consumption. You all have decided to take on community mental health challenges of systems that have been habitually underfunded and overwhelmed by need. You all decided not only to fight the stigma of your profession with those who need your services the most, but to address the policies that have contributed to generations of our society being labeled and ostracized. Finally, you have decided to do all of these things while seeking to maintain healthy personal relationships with friends and family, while simultaneously anchoring yourselves to your own personal wellness and your version of sanity. With all of that being said, I want to be the first to tell you from the bottom of my heart, you all are absolutely crazy. You all are crazy enough to attempt, crazy enough to keep going, crazy enough to seek wellness throughout the madness, And even crazier to think that you can support the healing of those who can feel that their existence could never be considered sane. Yet it is in the crazy moments of looking out into a society that seems dead set on cognitively tearing itself apart, you all will understand your worth and tremendous importance to those who need you most. You see, there's nothing crazy about caring for people under the most difficult conditions. It is an act of sanity to want to bring peace and balance to a world that incentivizes managed dysfunction. It is a deep sense of care that provides the opportunity to see the sea of possibilities that we have inherited as humans. It is in our care that the ball of yarn that represents the intractable problems of society begins to unravel and the opportunities of betterment become clear. It is in this clarity that provides us the grace to forgive ourselves when we feel that our care was not enough, and the fortitude to push ahead, not knowing if our efforts will ever make a difference. As you walk across the stage today, I ask you all to keep a little bit of crazy in your back pocket and to attach it to the care that allowed you to make it to this point. It is the ultimate gift when you look your colleagues in the eye, smirk, and realize that they are just as crazy as you and that they still decided to show up and do their best. I want to end this. Sorry. I did tell you I like dark humor. Forgive me. I want to end by thanking this great institution for this opportunity to be recognized for the work in which I've dedicated myself, and to show gratitude to my family, my friends, and co-workers who have formed a community of care around me. The work of community building is not for the faint of heart, but it's also not work that you can accomplish alone. And it is our ability to build coalitions of care that allow us to solve the most pressing issues of the day, so that our children can actually inherit a planet in which their dreams can flourish. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Williamson. That was a great speech that you blessed us with. One of the many traditions at institutions of higher learning is to hear from one of our graduates. For this year's ceremony, we have the opportunity to hear from two representatives of our graduating class. I am thrilled to present Caroline Susan Claffey from our Educational Specialist in School Psychology program as the representative of our graduating class from the Chicago campus. A Chicago native, Caroline graduated with a bachelor's degree from Indiana